Councilperson Bill Federese.
Here.
Carl Fancher.
Here.
Lori Mattias. Here. Robert Proudman.
Here.
Kelly Smith.
Here.
Officials, Carrie Sutton's absent. I, as the deputy clerk, am in her place. I'm Erica Weiss. Richard Irwin.
Here.
Mary Stuber. Diane Williams. Here. Tyler Latta.
Okay, if we can stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Erica, did anybody sign in for privilege of the floor?
I do not have anyone.
Okay. It's a cold night. I do have you have copies too, the October 11th, 2022 meeting minutes, which was the budget workshop. I haven't gotten to the November one yet, but that's ready to go. You guys have seen it, or at least you've been sent it. So if anybody has any comments, now's the time, or if you would, please make a motion or ask questions.
Motion to accept them?
And this says November 14th, but that's not correct. Yeah. Mine says October 11th. Okay, we had a motion, I'm sorry. I was too busy talking. Kelly made it, Bob seconded it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Okay. Assessor's report, did she leave anything with you or Karen? Erica?
Yes.
Oh, it is there, okay. You could read it, please.
Yes, December 12th, 2022. Dear board members, it is the time of year for the agricultural and senior exemptions renewals to be mailed out. They went out in the mail last week. All renewal forms and required documentation needs to be returned by March 1st, 2023 to continue to receive the exemption. Anyone interested in applying for the exemption should contact me. Mark Lose and I continue to work with the town of Broome and the state on reevaluation process. Currently, I am reviewing the prospective changes to residential properties. There are over 690 parcels to review. Once reviewed, the real property system will be updated. We will be sending letters out to all property owners with an explanation letter to help owners understand the impact of the changes. These changes will bring the town's equalization rate back to the 100% range. A draft copy of the letter is provided to help the board to understand what is occurring. I am using the county clerk office for all mailings and having them send a bill for the postage. It is cheaper doing bulk mailing. Sincerely, Mary Stuber.
Okay. Just a quick note on that before we make a motion to accept it. In previous years, when they had to do the work to get it back up to a 100%, which I'm pretty proud of, I think Conesville, Broome, and sometimes Richmondville are the only ones in the whole county that have 100%. But usually it was 1 or 2% we dropped. This time we dropped 13%, and that was more an indication of what the market is all about. And you can get by, but at 100%, it usually gives you a much fairer, I guess, deal on the taxes compared to some places like our neighbors at 2.5% over in Gilboa. Anyway, that was just my commentary.
Here's another page here in the back. Oh, that's the sample letter she sent.
Oh, the sample letter. You don't want to hear it, you don't read it. All right, we have a motion to accept the assessor's report.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Lori, second by Carl. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Okay. Code enforcement, he happens to be here.
Okay, let's see. Just a rundown of some things that went on. We have currently 42 open permits, no expired permits. We got a couple that were back in line. Working on 4 enforcements, different levels of construction without permits. Issued 1 building permit, 1 certificate of occupancy, 1 certificate of compliance, property search, couple inspections, and then a couple final inspections, and then a couple normal building inspections and site visits. And things are still kind of just rolling along. Hasn't really slowed down yet. It's still steady.
It's a good thing, I think.
Absolutely.
All right. And we're you didn't mention, but that we work together on some of the, and we're gonna cover that later in the meeting, the, fee schedules for the short-term rentals, otherwise known as B&Bs. Okay. Motion to accept the code enforcement officer's report.
I'll make it.
Kelly makes it.
I'll second it.
I have a second from Bob. All say aye or are in favor. Aye. Any opposed? So carried. Town clerk's report.
We just had one death certificate issued this month.
Okay.
Oh, I know.
Of course, it's the wrong thing. Rather issue one dog permit.
Dog license.
Yeah, rather than okay. I still have to ask a motion to
I'll make
accept the town clerk's monthly report.
I'll second it.
Kelly made it. Carl seconded it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. All right. Town collector's report.
I attended the tax collectors meeting in Schoharie in November, and just waiting for them to let me know they're ready.
And tomorrow, we're going to vote on the levies and the uncollected rents and taxes on places like the sewer districts and water. So as soon as that happens tomorrow, we don't have to do it to the first of the year, but then you wouldn't get your tax bill until the middle of January. Point being is they're ready to go, so I bet you'll have it very soon.
Hey,
You can keep our bills, it's okay.
yeah. You're first, Kelly.
Oh, ouch!
Aren't we related? Wait a minute.
Okay. All right, motion to accept Diane's report.
I'll make the motion.
Lori makes a motion, second comes from Kelly. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Good. All right, sewer district, late breaking, just came in this morning.
This is
10 minutes ago for Erica.
Yes, this is a monthly update for the West Conesville wastewater treatment facility. These are the highlights in your sewer district for the previous month. The average daily flow for the month of November was 2,419 gallons a day. We are in the process of scheduling the annual generator service visit with Kinsley Power. CPE came and completed the annual calibration of the flow meter at the plant. Started up and checked heating system, no issues were found. Cleaned flow meter flume. You can always contact us by phone number or by email or in person. Best regards, Travis.
Okay, thank you. Motion to accept.
I'll accept.
Okay, thank you. Bob, second.
I'll second.
Second from Lori. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Carried. Historian's report. Is she anyone?
I couldn't find it in the email either, so.
Okay. Well, I know she included, we usually did it in January. No, it doesn't matter. We did it in December or January, but, okay, so we'll do that next month. Highway super's report, and the reason you don't see Bill here is because this is Bill's last report. And it's a short one.
It's a short one. Superintendent's monthly report, November 2022. October weather allowed us to make significant progress on a good portion of our non-paved roads. As of this writing, we still need to improve Champlain and Hanner. We had a minor repair issue with our grader, and the crew was able to repair it. We rented a road widener, aka shoulder machine, for 1 week and gave South Mountain Road the finishing touches, concluding our work there. We installed a culvert on Carlisle Road, and as of this writing, we are preparing our equipment for the snow season, ordering salt and cinders. Bill Amen.
Good. We need to-
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion from Bob.
I'll
We have a
second.
second. Okay, a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. And I just want to, we've already thanked Bill. I gave him a little framed copy of the full imprint by carry of the resolution thanking him for his time. I think he was through the touch. You would expect that. Usually you don't get things like that in government. Just though, and Tyler's not here, and they worked their butts off yesterday. I mean, it wasn't a huge snowstorm, but it was the first one, which is always the most difficult. My father was a police officer, and he hated first snowstorms, even if they were 2 or 3 inches. That was always when, we have an ex-officer here, he'll tell you.
Accidents all over.
Yep.
I have a scanner at the house,
And
it
it
was
non-stop
was
yesterday.
crazy.
3-car collision over on Shoe Hollow Road. 3 records had to come. Nobody got seriously hurt, but I mean, it was everywhere. Our fire department was running around. And these guys, I think they did a hell of a job. I think we really have a good team. We still have one more opening, but we have a really good team here. And it was nice, as a team, they practiced and worked together for the first time in this smaller storm. I don't know what's happening the end of this week, but I hear a lot. So.
What you hear?
No, I heard there's a lot. Well, as of 2 hours ago, it's 5 inches up to 7 a.m. on Friday, and that's not the main part of the storm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep. And it was supposed to be mixed with rain, and now I'm hearing all snow or maybe just a little bit of a freezing drizzle mixed in.
And it's supposed to go all the way until Saturday morning.
I know. Oh, well.
Welcome to the Northeast, folks.
That's right. Okay. I don't think we did a motion on this.
Yes.
We did?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so busy talking, okay.
Carl.
And did we vote on it? Okay, good. All right. Supervisors County Report. There is something of note, and you guys got a copy of it, but for those of you who don't know, not just in Scary County, in a lot of places are very upsetting. Marie knows something about this. The state decided to encourage, in order to encourage renewable energy companies to put up mostly solar, but some wind generators, that they would take the assessment of these properties out of the hands of local government, or not out of their hands, but impose upon them what the allowable assessment would be. And in the case of, and it's almost the same everywhere, but within the case of Sharon Springs, or town of Sharon, a big, massive project, it went from 100% assessment, and we were negotiating a pilot with them, but down to, I don't believe this, an 86% discount off the assessment in the name of renewable energy. And I'm not saying that that's all bad, but you can't do it on the backs of the towns and the counties and the school districts. So their expected tax bill went from about $2-point-something million to about $290,000. That's an outrage, and they don't have the right to do that. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying, so they're taking money away from the areas.
Yes. So they can, so people that don't even know anything about renewable energy, just putting the money in to get the renewable energy credits. They
Right.
never last more than 2 or 3 years, and then they sell it off to somebody that actually does know what they're doing. The big companies, the big bankers like J.P. Morgan and those kind of people. But here's the good news on this. We, as a county, hired a lawyer. And I don't know why other counties didn't do this, but we hired a lawyer that specializes in energy. And they've had some success, particularly down in Long Island. They're out of Poughkeepsie. And what we did was, we filed suit asking for a temporary restraining order against the state. And stating that the constitutional argument, we didn't even get into that, violates the home rule. I mean, there's certain guidelines you have to follow, of course, but this was just punitive, all for the benefit of renewable energy. So 9 towns in Scary County, including Conesville, signed on for that. Didn't cost us anything. that we thought it was a long shot. And especially went through a new judge, an appointed by the current administration. And that's common everywhere, so it's not a slap administration. You always question that their loyalty is. And this was against New York State Department of Taxation and Finance. The judge took a little longer than we thought. And there's some moves back and forth, maneuvers, but long story short, last week there was 3 charges. She threw out 2 of the defenses that the state put up. And the other one was the state claimed we didn't have any standing, which is ridiculous. We're getting hammered here because of this. We have standing. But our attorney said, no problem. You want more standing? We'll go get 1,000 people to sign up as co-plaintiffs. That's not a big deal. And we're fighting, it's like David and Goliath here. It's a tough battle. And we never dreamed we would get this far. So, I mean, we hired an attorney, and the supervisor over in Blenheim, Don Airy, who's the lead guy for energy. I mean, he eats and sleeps this stuff, so when he calls me at 11 o'clock at night, I accept his calls because I don't want to discourage him. So, anyway, they were told they have to come back, this is the state, and say why we have no standing. Usually they give them 30 to 45 days. The judge gave them 20 days, and the day to respond is December 26th. Our lawyers reading that as the judge has no sympathy for these folks. And I understand what they're trying to do, but geez, how would we like something like that in Conesville?
Easy young people.
Yeah, and even if we're talking about a reduction on what it's assessed, in many cases, that's lower than what that land is worth just sitting there that we're collecting on. So they're asking us to take one for the state.
Why doesn't the state just offer up some kind of a rebate or a credit?
Yes, something.
To those taxpayers and property owners that want to
Right.
participate.
By the way, as part of this project,
They're trying to force it on the shoulders of all the other taxpayers.
Right.
That's just wrong.
and every last kilowatt is going down to New York City. They've already had the lines, or they're building the lines to do this. What are we getting out of it? No reduced rates? No, nothing. But that's, anyway, I can explain this.
I don't fear we'll let it go. We did it with the water. Why wouldn't we do it with our power?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, anyway, to be continued, but we're kind of optimistic right now. We got a nice write-up by the New York State Assessors Association. A couple of other places are starting to get a little bit, starting to push back. So there's talk we might get together as a larger group, which might help. Okay. Town business. The November report, we still have a little more work to do on that, but you do have and have seen and read thoroughly, I'm sure, the October supervisor's budget statement or report. And if you have any questions, be glad to answer them. If not, be glad to take any motions to accept it.
I'll make a motion.
Lori makes the motion.
I'll second.
Carl seconds it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Good. You have now's the resolution time. There's a resolution here for the 2023 Highway Department incentive payment. We already talked about this. It was negotiated or delivered to the union. Of course, they're never going to turn down an agreement to give their folks more money. So it's a pretty good deal. They're getting, for those of you who don't know, they're getting a $22 an hour pay, which is a substantial increase over what they were getting. And starting salary is $21 an hour for new full-times. But there's also in here a bonus for those people who stay a full year. They'll get $4,000, and we already budgeted this. So this is nothing new, but I was told it's probably a good idea to have a formal resolution for it. So if you're ready, we're ready.
Great. So the Town of Conesville Resolution Retention Bonus for Conesville Highway Department employees payable December 1st, 2023, introduced by William Federese. Whereas the Conesville Town Board approved the inclusion in the 2023 adopted budget an employee retention bonus for those employees who are employed at close of business on November 30th, 2023, and whereas the budgeted amount of $16,000 is for the payment of $4,000 each to a maximum of 4 full-time Conesville Highway Department employees who are employed by the Town of Conesville from December 1st, 2022 to November 30th, 2023, and whereas in recognition of full-time employees who may start their employment after December 1st, 2022, the Town of Conesville will pay a prorated retention bonus to those full-time employees who are employed at the close of business on November 30th, 2023, and whereas the intent of the retention program is to incent full-time employees to remain in the employ of the Town of Conesville and to be productive members of the Highway Department, this program will deduct from the payable retention bonus $15.38 per workday of those employees who do not report to work and have used all of their time off with paid benefits. Therefore, be it resolved, the Town of Conesville adopts the employee retention plan as described in this resolution.
Thank you. Comments, questions? Anybody want to second it? I'll second it. All right. Kelly seconds it. There's no other discussion. I'll ask.
Bill, quick question, what's the current per hourly wage?
The starting pay is $16.38, 32 cents, I'm sorry. So this is a
Was.
significant, what? Well, no, it still is until
Yeah,
January
until-
1st.
Another 2 weeks.
Yeah,
So it'll go to 21.
22?
22.
If a new hire, somebody that walks in the door will start at 21.
21.
So, we're
That's good.
excited. I know they're
That's good,
excited
thank
about
you.
it.
That's good.
You weren't here, but I
Finally.
quickly, what's that?
Finally.
What I did was I went and I asked all the towns and villages in Schoharie County what they paid their folks or what they were planning to pay in 2023. We put it on a chart and saw where we placed. By the way, we weren't the worst. There were 2 or 3 that were even lower than us. The goal was not to be the best paid, but to put ourselves somewhere above. Come on, it's the top 3 or 4 out of 16. I think that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, it is.
It is, so they're never happy. Look, I'm hearing complaints from you, not from them. They're happy as clams. But anyway, if there's no other comments, and that was fine, I appreciate that. Roll call.
Carl Fancher?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kelly, did you?
I was just gonna tell Johnny that the $4,000 bonus is on top of the $22 an hour.
No, I understand that, that's great. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's all right.
An interruption? You need a little input every once in a while.
No, I mean, I wanted you to finish your
I got plenty
resolution.
to my right here.
The resolution, I thought you were done. so.
Yep.
Carl Fancher?
Aye.
William Federese?
Aye.
Laura Mutice?
Aye.
Bob Proudman?
Aye.
Kelly Smith?
Aye.
Enthusiastic.
Three.
Thank you. Well, this is something that we should probably look at every year. I mean, inflation's been crazy, so that was a major factor too.
Okay.
All right, we have we actually have 2 more resolutions. The other one is the exciting subject of highway policy regarding culvert placement and expense. Try to hide your enthusiasm.
Town of Conesville Resolution, Highway Policy Regarding Culvert Placement and Expense, introduced by William Federese. Whereas the Conesville Town Highway Department has been practicing the policy of placing culverts at certain locations requested by landowners if agreed to by the Conesville Highway Superintendent. And whereas the Conesville Highway Superintendent has practiced the policy of collecting the cost of new culverts from the requesting landowner, and maintaining said culverts, and whereas there is no known documented policy covering culvert replacements, therefore be it resolved, the Conesville Town Board hereby confirms the practice of landowners paying for first-time culverts being placed by that Conesville Highway Department.
Right, and this was at the request of the previous highway super on his way out, and Tyler also agrees that this is just a good thing to do. documented. Really, nobody's ever objected to it, so it's just more of a thing. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Laura. And we'll do a roll call.
Carl Fancher,
Aye.
Bill Federici,
Aye.
Laura Matthijs,
Aye.
Bob Proudman,
Aye.
Kelly Smith,
Aye.
This one is, the next one is another resolution that I didn't think we needed to do. And if you recall, a couple of months, 2 months ago, we had a petition come in from most of the people that live on the portion of Potter Mountain Road, from Beaver Hill Road to Bear Kill Road, 2.7 miles, okay. And, you know, it's unanimous, and this board took it under consideration, the comments that their representative made, and we decided that we would support that. It was unanimous of everybody that was there. Okay, and I did say to them, because I didn't want them to think next week they're going to see the 40-mile-an-hour signs. It's not going to happen for quite a while, based on the other stretch of Potter Mountain Road that we did about 2 years ago or something like that. And I said, something goes wrong, it will go wrong. Well, our first bump in the road came up, they said, we want to see the resolution. I said, you didn't take a resolution last time, our motion was acceptable, and this is just a procedural thing. I could argue with them about it, I could get our attorney to say it's the same thing, just as quick to do this.
Yeah.
So I have a piece of paper to send to them and tell them what this is all about. So, without further ado,
Town of Conesville resolution regarding a request to lower the speed limit on a portion of Potter Mountain Road, introduced by William Federici. Whereas most residents and landowners and those who work on the 2.7 mile portion of Potter Mountain Road, also known as Schoharie County Road 3, starting at the intersection of Beaver Hill Road and ending at the intersection of Bear Kill Road, submitted to the Conesville Town Board a petition at the October 10th, 2022 Town Board meeting requesting the Town Board support a speed limit reduction on the aforementioned 2.7 mile portion of Potter Mountain Road from 55 miles per hour to 40 miles per hour. And whereas the petition cites the present speed limit is not safe for agricultural activity and pedestrians at the current speed limit due to the frequent curves which presents a safety issue to those persons walking, working, or operating farm equipment and machinery. And whereas the petition further points out that the increase of heavy truck traffic on Potter Mountain Road, which is not safe at 55 miles per hour, and whereas after consideration and discussion with the citizen representative of the petitioners, the Conesville Town Board unanimously passed a motion supporting a reduction of the speed limit on the requested section of Potter Mountain Road. Therefore, be it resolved, the Conesville Town Board hereby requests the Schoharie County Department of Public Works, the New York State Department of Transportation, and any other agencies involved in the process approve a reduction of the speed limit from 55 miles per hour to 48 miles per hour on the 2.7 mile portion of Potter Mountain Road from the intersection with Beaver Hill Road to Bear Kill Road.
and that could probably take up to a year. They come actually do 2 surveys. They send a team out, they do their work, but they don't tell the other team. Second team goes out, they try to validate. They don't see what was written, so it's just so redundant. But especially if you want everybody along that road wants it. But anyway, questions, comments?
I'll second
Okay, Kelly seconds. Great. Roll call.
Carl Fancher,
Aye.
William Federici,
Aye.
Laura Matthijs,
it. Aye.
Bob Proudman,
Aye.
Kelly Smith.
it. Aye.
Can you, the others I can wait on, but this one here, if you could maybe use her imprint. I'll have to take this with me to the county tomorrow. I have to give it to the DPW guy.
Okay. Does she have a?
Yeah, well, it's a
Seal.
seal,
Just
yeah.
a seal, but not
It's
a
a-
signature stamp.
No, but she can sign her name as,
Yeah.
Great,
if you don't mind, because I gotta take, I'm gonna go to the county, so I'd like to take that with me.
great.
All right, the next subject is Highway Department 2023 compensation, pretty much already covered it. But again, if anybody has anything they want to comment on, or? Excellent. The next subject is the building permit fee schedule, as well as the short-term rental regulation, rental registration. And you have copies of the revised, and I want to thank Rich for all the work that he did on this. We had already agreed to everything except for the short-term rental registration application, otherwise known as B&Bs. And is there anything you want to add to this, Rich? I mean, for instance, the fee for $250, that's pretty much the run of the mill of what other towns or other places are doing. I hear it's more in some, but.
I didn't have a comment on that too much. I did want to just throw out something that you guys had already approved with the fees. I believe it was approved, maybe I'm wrong there, but discussed. And that has to do with the fee for work projects started without a required permit that had been discussed, and it was on there for $250. And what I'd just like to throw out is a suggestion or an idea that maybe a flat fee might not be the best option there. Could be, but might not be. What might be more prudent and even-handed is a fee based on the project. Some other towns are using, as example, like 2 times the permit fee as the fee for starting a project without a permit. And the thinking there, right or wrong, is that, so you maybe start a shed for a $60 fee and wind up paying $250, or you start a big project for, $600 or $800 permit, then you're still paying $250. So it might be more equitable to base the fee or the penalty, I guess, would be ultimately on the course of the project. It doesn't have to be, it was just something I was thinking about, and figure I would mention it for discussion if you guys want to discuss it.
Mike, I think your idea is equitable in terms of some poor guy's just putting up, he's not that poor, he knew he should have got a permit.
Yeah, no, you should still.
But, it's like a bigger ticket for doing 100 and a 30 than doing 40 and a 30.
Same kind of thinking.
I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I have a question regarding fees. So just for clarity, the section where it's repairs and renovations, alterations, that concurrently with the need to get a permit, I'm just throwing out there, let's say someone's heating system goes, it's a Friday or Saturday, they've got to get a new boiler in or whatever they need to repair. Are they not to do an emergency repair and get a new boiler or a new heating system in because they don't have time to get a permit and thereby get a $250 fine because they needed to get heat back in their house but didn't have time to obtain a permit? What's the, emergency type clause? I'm just wondering, because there are situations, let's say my well went dry. Holy crap, I gotta do a new well. It's gonna cost me like 10 grand. So I probably would have to get permits and everything, but I'm gonna wanna get on that well instantly because my house is dry. So I'm just trying to think if there should be some type of emergency provision. I'm not gonna try to get a permit on Saturday.
Give the code enforcement officer a heads up, and he or she can decide they want to come out there right away. And you say, no, go ahead, take care of it, I'll see you on the
You took
next
the words out of my mouth.
So long as people
Still
know
make the
that.
call and still make the request, make it known what's happening.
Truthfully, if like a pipe bursts in your house, no offense, my first thing is to fix the pipe, not let me get a permit to fix the leak that's going before mold happens in my house and everything. So that's where a lot of people have to call someone to come right away. And I just want to make sure that those people aren't going to get wrongfully penalized when they see a construction truck go up a driveway and say, well, they don't have a permit up there, what's going on up there? And it's just one of those things. People have emergency work that comes up, and I want to make sure that was covered for.
Anybody else have any thoughts about what's being proposed?
So if a pipe bursts, you have to get a building permit?
I'm sorry, no offense. I'm
I'm
not getting a building permit for
I
pipe
think
breaks.
Fred's making.
Well, no,
No, I mean,
taking
he's-
examples.
but the repair's over $1,000. You can easily have $1,000 bill in a blank with having to
But-
repair something in your house. That's where I was
Doesn't
trying
that
to
just
understand.
apply to these items here? Some of these things like, the heating system, yes. But, I mean, if a pipe breaks, you brought that up, so I thought that was I'm not gonna call, and I don't plan to call you even afterwards. To me, that's the extreme.
Well,
No
one of the
disrespect.
exemptions in the code is in-kind repairs, a permit isn't needed. So like I said, Fred's making, his point is on the understanding that he's just using examples that aren't valid.
Well, as I recall, if a certain amount of sheetrock is damaged by water, you have to replace all of it, which case we do need to have you come out because someone had an issue like that.
Well, that's a
Whether
different
you-
example, right?
That's
So
not an
sometimes-
emergency. You can
Right.
wait till Monday when he comes.
Yeah,
Right.
just saying, I mean, if my wall, everything, I'm not hoping anything happens, but I'm gonna repair that wall and do everything on the spot. I'm gonna fix it. So that's where it's really a hard call. I'm not gonna wait to have my house back in order. If I can rip open the wall, cut out the pipes, repair the wall and put everything back together, that's what I should do. I just shouldn't.
No, that's not what you should do, that's what you may do, and then you'd be held accountable for it. That's not what you should do.
Okay.
All right.
Carol,
Point's
just-
taken.
Another
Yes.
quick question. The term used B&B or Airbnb, because, which one are you talking about?
Yeah, well,
I mean-
Airbnb is a company. B&B is a process or a description of, and by the way, most of the B&Bs today are not even bed and breakfast.
That's what I'm saying, it's all, they just rent the place, there's no breakfast involved.
It's just not.
That's why they use the term short-term rent, that's why they're called short-term.
I just was trying to clarify in
Yeah.
my mind what you're.
Airbnb is a company that, they're probably one of the better ones, so I'm told. You pay more to have them represent you, but they vet the people that are renting the property. They
No, I'm
Make
just
sure
saying,
you
it
pay
just
the
was a-
occupancy
It was a
tax.
term, so, okay, thank you.
Okay. If nobody has any objection, I'd like to get this in place for January 1st, because we've done a couple of iterations of this, and for good reason.
Yeah, I'll make the motion, we accept it.
I'll second it. Okay. I think, all right, well, no, hold on a second, though. Yeah, let's do that, let's do two separate votes. The building permits fees. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Carried. Now, the second one, I don't know what we would debate here, but this is for those people that are contemplating going into the short-term rental business, and by the way, there's tons of them around all over the place, including Conesville, maybe not like some other places, but in Jefferson, they thought they'd get maybe a couple dozen. How many did you get?
39 right now.
Yeah. There's even people now in Glenham who are building houses for the purposes of putting up a B&B, yeah. And you can't stop them, it's their land. They have every right to do what they want. This still is the United States.
The one you grab right in Davenport when you're going through, the building looks like it's falling down.
Yes.
Call Airbnb to get this room for $65. And I just looked at it and said, who in their right mind needs to go out of town to stay here?
Yeah, I know. Oh, I laugh every
They
time I see
are
it.
everywhere.
Yes.
Well, the old post office in Gilboa,
No.
between Clark's and Diane Banks.
Yes.
And so that's an Airbnb place now, and they advertise it as lakefront
Lakefront.
property. And they've actually had people come out of the house with their floaties and head
No.
to the reservoir.
Oh, no kidding. False advertising.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
See, you can't get away with that with Airbnb because they come out and check your place and make sure what you're telling people it is.
I don't know, just
So.
with Diane Banks.
No, and I believe it. I absolutely believe it.
It's a lucrative business.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, everybody's different.
I know a guy he's got a second house on his property, right on the river in Coxsackie. He gets $6,000 a weekend. And he's-
Whoa,
and
I'm
he's-
building that.
And he's full every weekend.
Look, exactly. He's had a renovation too. It's pretty nice.
We've been waiting a year and a half to get in there and do some work, and there's just never any time that it's not full.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Yeah,
Money's going.
It's pretty nice down by the river over there.
that's beautiful. I don't know if it's $6,000 a weekend beautiful.
I wouldn't give you 600 a weekend. Guess I'm not staying there.
No, I'm not.
No, even if I wanted to, I couldn't. All right, so basically, there's a lot of just primary information here, but some of it is also stuff that the code enforcement officer is going to need to know. And it reflects some of the things that we have in our short-term rental law that we passed last month. And
So they have to register with the county?
yes, and the reason for that is, by law, they are required to collect an occupancy tax. And that money gets put back in, not into the county's general fund, it gets plowed back into promoting the county. Yes, of course, B&Bs, we really don't have any suitable hotels right now, but, you know, attractions like House Cave, the farms, there's a lot of agritourism in this county, and that's what that money goes into. And I can tell you, we're on a pace right now with the collection of the occupancy taxes, or Occy tax as they call it in the business, to put out about $190,000 in promotions for the county this year. We're on that run rate. And the argument here is, you don't register, you're being subsidized, because other people are the legit ones are collecting the Occy tax, and we may not promote you, we don't promote anybody, and they have really nice websites. Destination Marketing is the company that we hired. They're really professional, very good job. And one of the things, John Riedel's going to open up a bed and breakfast specializing with maple products for breakfast, but you're not registered. Aside from being illegal, we're not going to put your business in there and attract people. We're going to go to the ones that were legit.
Nice.
It is nice, and you know, sure, I'd love to see it go in the general fund, but that's not fair. That's not what it's for. So, and I just, you said last month that it was 22. 4% is the Occy tax. The other 8% is sales tax. So Airbnb is collecting the other 10. That seems kind of steep to me, but I don't know. But it's going up like crazy because of all these B&Bs, and we never dreamed we had this many rooms for rent in this county until the pandemic came. Okay, I don't know if we need to vote on this, but let's do it just in case. Maybe somebody can say the board.
Vote or motion?
What's that?
Vote or motion?
Motion, then a vote. Yeah,
I'll make a motion.
Carl makes the motion.
I'll second.
Bob seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Excellent. We just have to talk about the other thing about updating the form to reflect what we discussed. Sure. Okay. I told you this would be pretty quick tonight. Couchman House, I have a few things to add, but you weren't here, so I shared with the Historical Society what you've done. And so I don't want to take your thunder away, Sean.
No, you will away.
All right, but we'll see. Yeah, I will, because you won't compliment yourself, but I'm going to.
I don't have to.
I know, but I am going to. I was over there last week with Sean over at the Couchman House, and I was truly blown away by the work that he's done so far. The back room there was where the hot tub was, but probably where our meeting room is, but all that's to be decided yet. Was leaking through just about every one of those skylights, and Sean removed them, and he went and got plywood, so they're all sealed nice and tight. There is some leaks that came in through the roof, and Sean took out all the shingles on that part of the roof where it's not metal, and put the frost guard, I think it's called, on it, and then he shingled it. And you have a little bit of work where it goes up against the
Yeah.
metal, right?
Yeah, it's at the fence there.
Right. And that was amazing in and of itself, but he did a tremendous job on the chimney, which was starting to separate from the house. Well, I give you credit going up there on those scaffolds. I mean, it looked super secure, but I give you credit. But that's what you did for a living. So we got it down most of the way, and we decided where we were going to end the chimney for now. I mean, if we ever want to reinstate it, or somebody wants to reinstate that beautiful fireplace, and it is beautiful. Your father did that, right?
Yeah.
Well, did a great job. We'll put a flue in there or something like that and dress it up on the outside. And also, you know, obviously where it pulled away from the house, it's exposed to the elements. You can't see daylight into the house though, but it's exposed. Sean found some of the original siding that was in one of the sheds. I mean, it matches. I guess it was left over from when the job was done, when the siding was up. So it's not enough, but it'll go a long way, I believe.
It should.
Yeah. So that's down, and next step is to get a container in to throw the, that's heavy, the cinder blocks and all the shingles which are piled up on the back lawn. And there's some, what is that in the room there? There's those also shingles?
No, that's only, all that's a wood and paper.
Oh, okay.
Come off the,
Okay. So, I am, and I'm sure we all should be very thankful for what Sean has done thus far, and I'm excited. We're going to get the dump, I call it dumpster, it's just a container. I'm not going to ask the historian or the historical society folks to pump those heavy cinder blocks over, judging by some of them are even older than I am. We'll find one or two people that will pay to do it, rather than do it ourselves.
Doesn't the end of those open up so you can just?
Yeah, they do, but it's not that easy. We're gonna get a couple of wheelbarrows and just wheel them in there and dump them at the far end. But I don't know if we'll.
Easier to throw them.
Yeah, how much you think they weigh? 40, 50 pounds a piece?
no, they're not that bad.
No? You do it all way? For you, they're not that bad. But yeah, we're very happy with that, and we may be able to top off some more of we're not leaving a partly full container.
No.
There's plenty of crap stuff to go in there.
Trampoline still in the backyard?
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut the trees that's growing through.
Oh.
Yeah, and he did, and Sean cut some brush too, which was good. It was a little bit concerning where it was. There's room we can throw that in there, but I'm kind of inclined to say it's brush. We have a place where the highway department brings brush. Why fill a container with brush?
Right. Well, the garage is full of crap.
Yeah, I know, but we're gonna, that's like the last place that we're going to go.
Yeah.
So I did get a quote, as you may or may not recall, for to put 200 amp service in. But it's also needs to be done by a professional, obviously. Anybody would get would be a professional who checks out the connections, particularly under the floors or in the basement, because of just corrosion over all this time, to make sure we're not going to give
It's
it.
been left open, wide open.
The window's open too in the basement. That was
I
the
know.
and Bill Rouleau, who did the inspection, says that was the line of thinking back in the day. You leave it open to let fresh air in, but you're letting all the moisture in. So.
And animals.
And animals, I'm sure, yes.
Dead birds.
Oh yeah, dead birds, dead bats. Found a couple of those.
Yeah.
But anyway, first things first is to get the electric. You can't do anything without it. And then we want to do the heat. And we'll get $10,000 from the state for it's sort of like an energy program. That's what's driving. Yeah, I just beat up the state for what they do with the. But this is returning it to the state, like these LED lights qualified, these split systems, they qualified. You have to have 5 different projects or efforts. We only have one more to do. One of them could be just sitting down with another town who's interested in doing and comparing notes. And we'll qualify for $10,000 off our heating system, as long as it's using, or has the potential to use renewable energy. Everything we get on our lines, very few of it's renewable. So that's exciting, and then I'm going to put together for the board to comment on, I'm not going to put dates next to it, but a sequence of things that we want to do. And after that, heat, water. I mean, the things that would make it bearable to do some things, and especially in the winter. I mean, if you get electric, you could fool around with some space heaters that you unplug when you're not there, of course, but just, you know, work room by room. But it's a big project. I know a lot of people are enthusiastic about it. I'm one of them, but we have to put a little realism in here that this is going to cost multiple six figures, and some grants are out there that we're going to work on, but it will be slow. This is a work in progress, and it will take a while. And I just don't want to see people's expectations get up, because the enthusiasm is fantastic. But you have to also not damper it, but say, continue with the enthusiasm, but be realistic.
Well, after you get the heating and the electric,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and just what Sean's done already,
Yeah. Oh, no.
then it's just interior
As
stuff.
they say in the business, you button up the house so you
Yeah.
can work in there in the winter.
Yeah,
Right.
and we could,
But the electric probably is in the neighborhood of anywhere from 2,500 to 4,000. The heating system could be, this one here was, what, 26? Before the discount from the state.
Yeah, it was just under 26, and turned out to be 21 something.
Right, we got almost a $5,000, and that's not because we're a municipality. Anybody who wants to do this, if you go through a qualified contractor, will get that kind of, and by the way, you don't get it, contractor gets it and takes it off your bill. So, but I gotta believe a place that big, it's not gonna be $26,000.
should be at least double,
Okay. Oh, scaring me.
triple.
There we go. Okay.
We'll see.
Well, one thing at a time.
Yeah, I haven't walked through the building yet. We'll see.
All right, and you don't want to, I mean, you could do cheaper putting an oil burner in there, something like that. Just doesn't work anymore. It really doesn't. They're strangling you out of that anyway.
It all depends on what you want.
I want the cheapest that I can get away with legally. That's what I want, as long as it's aesthetic. I mean, I'm
You can
not.
put strip electric in there and, you know, have a $12,000 a month heating bill in the winter.
Oh,
No problem.
Yeah,
You can get that cheap.
because nobody's buying it anymore.
Nobody's buying it, and it doesn't work anymore.
The state's still pushing it, by the way.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't have a fossil fuel
I
hook to it, they'll push it.
know.
They just forgot where that energy's made.
I know.
That's a whole nother story. Let's not get into that.
No.
Fuel that makes it.
I know. So that's the Couchman House update. I'm excited, but realistic is the way I guess I'll put it. But I'm gonna bring you back a sequence for comment, and underneath, and we'll build that over time. We'll know, like, this area is, I'll just use plumbing. Where do we wanna go first? Things like that. There's two bathrooms, I guess there'll be restrooms. Bad. I think it got torn up pretty good by the kids that had their drinking parties. And that's what I think. Oh yeah, there's still a lot of bottles laying around.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's still good, it's not open, why'd you have them?
That's gonna have to go anyway, so, because they all have to be handicap access now.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
we would have had to do that even if they were still pristine. So, that's, it is what it is.
I know.
Just move on, one project at a time, eventually we'll get her done.
Yep. Well, I mean, all right.
Good things come in time.
Yes, they do. That's what I have. You guys have anything?
I've got nothing to do with me.
Like it. Then I will take a motion to review the invoices, and after that, we'll adjourn, so there won't be any, I have one thing on the invoices that I wanted to ask you about. Take the motion first to review the invoices. I'll make the motion. I'll second it. Okay. And all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, on general, voucher 132, and it's not a lot of money, $77 bill from Mountain Eagle for classified. There's about a $29 charge there for.
Good, Johnny.
Good night, John.
Good night.
For the sewer district. And the reason I would just let it lie, but it's the sewer district. And by law, anything associated with a special use district has to be paid by them and not subsidized by the people of the town. So I'm asking you, take that one out and I'll do the voucher to correct it for the end of the year. He's looking it up, good.
Hold on, which one are you?
132.
Mountain Eagle advertising, this one right here,
Yeah.
that should be sewer district.
Not all of it, part of it. About a third of it. And it's not a lot of money, but the point is that we should not let the rest of the people of Conesville pay for that. Do we have a motion to pull that out?
Oh, I'll make a motion to pull that one out.
Okay. Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carried. And it'll still be paid this year. We'll do it at the year-end meeting. That's it. I got nothing else.